record this train of thought while it's still fresh in my head, as this is potentially quite a valuable train of thought. So I was thinking about what happened on the Friday morning with the neighbour that was pretending to put something over the wall, the garden wall, and the whole way that the incident played out was this. So I returned home about 15 minutes prior, as to my recollection. I immediately went inside. The bird was okay at this point. She was in the hall outside Debbie and Jack's bedroom, and yeah, I just kind of went about my business in the house, and I moved the bird from outside that bedroom to inside the dining room, and I was pottering around inside the dining room when I noticed the bird getting quite agitated, and so I took a video of that, and she was wheezing as well. She was gasping, and now at this point I think that our neighbours are attempting to bait me into doing something stupid, effectively, and so whenever I see this bird wheezing, I don't immediately react. I do take a video of it, a relatively quiet video, and the window is open. This is in the dining room, I'm taking this video, but I don't talk very loudly, and I don't think that anyone on the other side of the house in the neighbour's garden would have been able to hear what I was saying. So after that, I'm like, thanks girl, I'm gonna go outside now, because whatever this is, I don't want any part of it. I assume that there is something that is causing the bird to gasp, and because that's the way it's been previously. And I then go outside. Now, because I think that these guys are trying to frame me, I don't actually do anything. I go outside, and I think I walk up towards the van, which is parked slightly further into the property than where it's normally parked. It's normally parked at the property boundary, and just gonna have to turn here. So I walk towards part of the way towards the van, and then I turn back and I hop up and sit on top of the first of the 3 wheelie bins that are sitting in front of our garage. And the wheelie bins are sitting in front of the brown gate, which is beside our garage in that side of the property. So I'm sitting on the frontmost wheelie bin, and my legs are swinging and knocking very gently against the side of the bin, because there's not much else you can do whenever you're sitting on a wheelie bin. So I don't really know what else to do. I'm just kind of sitting there to wait to see what happens. Actually, this is slightly wrong. The ordering is wrong, okay? So I come outside, I walk towards the van, and at that point, someone in the neighbour's garden immediately pretends to phone the police, and he picks up his phone and he's like, yeah, he's doing it, yeah, make a note, make an email or whatever, yep, see you later. And so I think it's whilst he's doing this that I turn around and go back and sit on the bin. Anyway, so I'm now sitting on this bin, my legs are swinging. I don't want to give these guys any excuse to report me for doing anything, because that's what I think that they're trying to do, is create a situation in which I do something or act weirdly or something, and then they have this evidence against me. But as I'm sitting on this bin, with my legs swinging gently against against the bin, then I look over and I can see from where the van is parked, I can see along the right hand side of the van from my vantage point of the bin and across to the front of the front property boundary where I'd recently put in some screening. I put in some conifers just in pots along the wall that runs along our property boundary to the right of our driveway, as if you're facing from inside the property outwards. Then the wall is on the right hand side of the driveway. So I'm looking down here and I see who I think, but I'm not 100% sure initially, although I've later become pretty darn sure, is a neighbour of my parents' house. And he walks along and stops in my view, and he stays there for about 30 seconds, and he's rifling in his pockets or pretending to like tip out his pockets over the wall of the property boundary. And he does this and he just keeps sitting there and doing it. I'm sitting there watching him do it. I'm like, what the heck is this guy doing? Like, he never looks down, and the entire time he's smiling and laughing his ass off. And after he's been sitting there for a while, I'm like, right, I'm just gonna do something random. So I start whistling, I go, because I wanted to do something that would let him know I was there, but not do something crazy or abnormal. So I just whistled. So then he, at that point, leaves. He wanders off. So he does. And I hop off the bin and kind of amble towards the front of the property, the wall where this guy has been standing for quite a while. And as I move towards the wall, I hadn't even got very far. I really hadn't got very far at all. Maybe about a quarter of the distance between the bin where I'd been sitting and the front the wall where the guy had pretended to put stuff over the front property boundary. So yeah, I got about a quarter of the way there, and then all of a sudden the opposite neighbour immediately pops out of his door and starts scampering down the driveway. And I'm like, oh man, I don't want to have a confrontation with this guy, and I'm still kind of a bit taken aback by the whole affair. I don't want to give them an excuse to say anything about me. So this guy's heading, so I just break off. So I turn away from where I was heading and walk back, and I think I go back in the house at this point to check the cameras to see what the heck is going on. But okay, yeah, so I go back in the house and then I check the cameras and then I check on the bird again, and the bird has stopped wheezing and gasping and is now back to normal. So this is after I checked the videos. This is about 5 to 10 minutes after the event. So I take a video of the bird in her recovered state, and there the event ends essentially. But now I've got where this guy was standing whenever he was pretending to put stuff over the fence is normally covered by security cameras, but on this specific day the van was parked somewhere different, and that's why the guy, I think he thought that he was protected by the van basically, and he didn't have to worry about being caught on camera, and that's part of the reason why he was so cocky. But he was also just incredibly incredibly confident. Like, why does this guy have the confidence to turn up outside my house and pretend to put something over the wall for like an extended period, and think he can get away with it? Now, even though he doesn't look down, so presumably from the opposite side, it looks as if he's standing looking straight ahead. He's still really, really confident. And there's another weird thing as well, which is, why did he sit there for so long? And he only started moving after I reacted. And the other neighbour, what was he waiting for? Why did he only come out of his house and start walking over as soon as I started heading for where the guy pretended to put stuff over the wall? And why did the first neighbour who attempted to phone me and who threatened to phone me into the police, he made a false phone call to try and trick me into thinking that they'd phoned the police on me. Why did he do it whenever I hadn't done anything yet? Yeah. So basically, he jumped the gun, I think. So I think he was expecting me for some reason. He was expecting me to come out of the house and start behaving strangely. And because of that, whenever I came out of the house and didn't do anything strange and behaved normally, then he phoned the police anyway and said he's doing it. And how did he even know that I was out there? Yeah. So he jumped the gun basically, and the others. So the first neighbour, who was the one who was pretending to put stuff over the fence. The reason why he waited so long, and he waited exactly until I reacted. He was waiting until I got a reaction, or he got a reaction out of me, and after he got a reaction out of me, that was whenever he was moving on. And the other neighbour, the one who kind of came out of his house super quickly as soon as I started moving in that direction, what was he waiting on? It seemed like he was standing at the door of his house waiting until I moved in that direction. As soon as I moved in that direction, he was absolutely ready to pop out of his house and bustle over and get involved in whatever was going on. Yeah, he was waiting for me to move. They were trying to provoke me into doing something by, first of all, by fucking with the bird, by using some, I don't know, domestic substance to fuck with her, and therefore me, because my respiratory health is very bad. So they were expecting me to freak out and come storming outside and start doing weird shit, but I didn't, because I thought they were, at that point, trying to essentially trick me into doing something stupid. And because of that, I came outside and acted completely normally. And I continued to do that even as the guy pretended to put stuff over my wall. I continued to act normally. And whenever I started walking over there to have a look and the other neighbour came out of his house and started bustling over, I immediately broke off going over there, because I was like, I don't want to give them any reason whatsoever to report me for being weird, you know? So yeah. So if you look at the actual evidence and think about it, and the way they all acted and reacted around me, the first person who made the fake phone call had an expectation that I would be doing something, I would be behaving in a certain way for some reason, and he acted on that expectation even whenever I didn't behave that way. So he had that, and he expected me to do it as soon as I came out of the house for whatever reason. And the guy who pretended to put stuff over the wall, he stood there until he got a reaction. He waited there until he got a reaction, and only then did he move off. But he didn't get the reaction that he thought he was going to get. They thought I was going to storm over and go, "What the hell are you doing at my wall?" Blah, 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 blah. But I didn't. I only whistled at him. And so he just, at that point, he was like, okay, he just walked off because it would just look too weird to stand there any longer. And the fact that he was standing in the location which isn't covered by CCTV cameras is dead suspicious as well. And the other neighbour, he was also waiting. He was waiting for me to come over and start remonstrating with the guy so he could come over as well and say, actually, I didn't see anything. It's all just this crazy asshole who's harassing people, you know? And I would be, you know, up shit creek at that point. Because I thought this is what they were doing. And indeed, this is exactly how they acted. I didn't do any of that stuff. The other thing is, if you look at the timing of the neighbour who put the stuff over the wall, he would have had to have left the house at exactly the same time as the bird, or near enough as the bird started showing respiratory symptoms. And he would have had to have left the house after I returned, because remember, I only just returned home whenever this happened. So if you look at the timing of it, it looks like they're all communicating, basically. I come home, one of them tells the guy who eventually put the stuff over the wall that I'm back home. He starts walking. Another neighbour who's working with them uses some respiratory irritant to fuck with me. They expect me to come out of the house going, "Rah, rah, rah, what the hell is going on here? Blah, 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 blah." But I don't, because I think that they're trying to trick me into doing something. It's a sting, basically. So the whole thing, it's dead obvious it was a sting. The fact that he waited until I reacted, both of them waited until I reacted. That is the guy who came out of his house and the dude who pretended to put something over the wall. And as well as that, the fact that the first guy who was pretending to put me into the police did it before I actually did anything proves that he had an expectation that at that exact point I would come out of that house flustered and shouting about someone poisoned the bird or something, or they were expecting to get something on camera that they could use against me. Yeah. And if you look at the timings and stuff, and where his house is, how long it took him to walk around, the way that syncs up with all the other events, the way they all acted, absolutely everything about that points to it being a sting. They were trying to fuck with me, capture it. They were going to back each other up and, yeah, fuck me over, basically. That's what they were trying to do. Because I thought that's what they were trying to do, because that's exactly how they'd be behaving. Yeah, I didn't do it. And that kind of, the fact that I didn't do it and I behaved differently to what they expected proves, that's heavily indicative that they were all talking to each other and they had the whole thing worked out beforehand in order to fuck with me.